Hi guys, and welcome to my review of No Future. If it seems like I have no energy or am deflated or anything, it's because I honestly am so disappointed by this new song. My opinion on Bored to Death and Rabbit Hole hasn't really changed. I like them, but they're not great. They're definitely not as good as I think they could be. And with No Future, I have finally come to the realization that all three singles sound almost identical. The structure is the exact same. It's just not interesting. At least on the other Blink albums, all the singles actually had some variety. They didn't all sound the same. In fact, there's not a single Blink song where I can listen to it and go, you know what, that sounds the exact same as that one. Whereas this new track, and really all the tracks that they've released from California so far, I've been doing that. I've been thinking, Rabbit Hole sounds like Bored to Death in a way, and No Future sounds like both those tracks in a way. And I honestly, because of that, I have just lost all faith in the album now. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm so skeptical. I'm really hoping that it will come out and my expectations will be completely blown out the water, and maybe these singles are the only tracks that sound like that on the album, but I don't think that's likely. I think the whole album is probably just going to sound the same. Let's talk about what I like about the track. I like the verses. I like how they're a lot more softer, and I really like the melody in the verses actually. And when I first listened to it and I was listening to the verses, I was actually like, you know what, this could actually be really good. Like, I really enjoyed the verses, especially the first one. But the lyrics really ruined it. The lyrics are just not good. Mark Hoppus is a fantastic songwriter. I have no idea what's happened with these tracks. I'm not a big Alkaline Trio fan, so I've never really listened to their lyrics or anything, and I don't know how Matt Skiba is as a songwriter, but there's something here that just isn't right. These lyrics just, they seem lazy. They seem like first drafts, like they were just written in a short period of time, and instead of like thinking about the meaning or anything, they were just like, yeah, let's throw down the album. But what I loved about everything from self-titled onwards, including Plus 44, is the lyrical content was so good. You can look at the early albums and yeah, the lyrics are not great. Even in songs like Adam's Song, which I love, even I can admit that the lyrics are not great. But the self-titled album onwards, their lyrics became much more poetic, and Plus 44 I thought had some of the best lyrics that Mark Hoppus has ever written. So I don't see why they've taken such a huge step back lyric-wise. And also I think the sounds, they've taken a huge step back. Like, a lot of people are saying this sounds like classic blink-182, which not really, it doesn't really sound like it. I will listen and go, yeah, there's a little bit of Enema in there. But really, this sounds like the album they would do if, since Enema, they'd just been writing the same album over and over and over again and didn't progress, and then with this album decided to kind of change more to become a more modern pop-punk band, you know, inspired by some of the other popular bands like All Time Low. And yeah, it seems so lazy because self-titled, Neighborhood, Dogs Eating Dogs experimented, tried new things, and showed huge amounts of progression for the band when it came down to songwriting. And I know a lot of people are going to come along and say that they don't like those tracks because they're not pop punk, but I honestly think those tracks are the best the band have ever written. I don't care how the band sounds. I don't care if they change their sound and become a completely different sounding band, as long as they're writing good songs, which even Neighborhoods, which got a lot of shit, I really like Neighborhoods, and I think most of the tracks anyway on that album are really solid, and Dogs Eating Dogs, all of that was really great. But this, they aren't really making great songs. These just kind of seem like decent songs. Like, if this was coming from a new pop punk band, I'd listen to it and go, you know what, it shows potential, it's decent. The chorus has that anthemic sound that Bored to Death from Rabbit Hole has. The Mark screaming out the lyrics, and yeah, I don't know, it's not bad, but I just didn't really want to hear that again. I have heard that twice already, I don't need it again. I liked it the first time, second time not as much, and now hearing it again, it just seems like they didn't really know what to write, so they just took some pop punk cliches that have been added into the music recently, like from bands like All Time Low, and instead of spreading out these cliches into the different songs and spreading out these sounds, they seem to have pushed all the sounds into one track and then decided to replicate that track over and over again, but with different lyrics and a different melody. And yeah, it's really, really lazy. I also think Matt Skiba really does sound bad on this track. Like, in his verse, I was like, you know what, this is not bad. His verses are decent. The bridge is fucking awful. He sounds so bad because it basically just sounds like a draft take where he's got loads of cracks in his voice and he wasn't prepared and it sounds really bad, but instead of getting him to re-record it, they've tried to fix it with auto-tune, and the auto-tune has made everything sound really, really weird. Like, I was fine with the voice crack on Bored to Death, I thought it sounded decent there, but on here, the voice cracks sound so lazy and so bad. Like, you could have easily gone back in and re-recorded the take and made it sound good, but they didn't. I also don't like him shouting "no future" in the chorus. Like, I don't know, but I just felt like that was so out of place and it just completely ruined the chorus for me. Although I will say the melodies in the track are decent, I don't think there's anything else really stand out about the track. The lyrics are terrible, the guitar riffs are so forgettable. In fact, the track as a whole is really forgettable. I've listened to it about 5 or 6 times now, and after listening to it, I've completely forgotten it every single time. I only remember it at the moment because I listened to it as soon, like, straight before recording this review. Like, I honestly think this is going to be a track that will disappear from my mind in a couple of hours and I'll completely forget about it again. And that's not good. You know, when listening to a song, I should listen to it once and it should be stuck in my head. That's how you know you've got a good song that's catchy and fun. If the song you listen to it multiple times and it still hasn't stuck in and it still keeps fading out, that is not good. And this track is just not good. It really is not good. I'm looking back at other Blink albums, and even some of the worst songs they've ever done have not been this bland and forgettable. Even tracks like Even If She Falls or Love Is Dangerous from Neighbourhoods, which I think are probably the worst tracks that they've done to date. Even those, I remembered them, they were catchy, and I could listen to them fine and somewhat enjoy them, even if I knew the lyrics and shit were terrible. But this track just isn't like that. I listened to it multiple times, it doesn't really stick in, and it doesn't stand out at all. It just kind of seems really lazy and just like they're doing the same thing that they did before with those last 2 tracks. And yeah, I'm really hoping this new album does not all sound like this, because if it does, this album is just not going to be good. And I don't understand why so many people are coming along and saying Blink are back and this is the best they've sounded in years, because no, it's not really. I like that they're going back to pop punk. I like that they're kind of trying to go back to their roots, but also adapt to the times. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with the fact that now they're just sounding so average. They're sounding like just your normal average modern day pop punk band. There's nothing setting them above the other band. And even with albums like Enema of the State and their older music, they were still right at the top of the pop punk sound. They were making songs so much better than other pop punk bands, especially in the early 2000s when bands like Good Charlotte and Simple Plan were huge. Blink-182 were right at the top, huge above them and were making really good songs. But now, honestly, there's nothing in these new tracks that I listen to them and go, you know what, this is the best pop punk song I've heard in years. It's not, I don't even think any of these are probably the best pop punk song I've even heard this year. I just think they've taken a huge step back. The experimentation, the huge amount of progression that they had before has completely gone, and now they're just making mediocre pop punk. And I really do not like it anymore. I'm really, really disappointed with this new track. And all hopes for the album I had before have completely gone. I'm going to review the album, of course. I think that was pretty much a given as soon as I did the first track review. And I don't know if they're going to be doing any more track releases before the album, but this is going to be the last one I do before the album comes out. And also, what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to do a really quick, sort of like this style first impressions video where maybe the day it comes out, the day after it comes out, after I've listened to it, I'll say what I think of all the tracks, what I think of the album as a whole. And then in a few weeks, maybe a month or two, I'll do a full in-depth review on the whole album, because Blink are my favourite band, and I think I really do need to really analyse the album before I fully write it off or fully say this is the best album they've done in years, which is not going to happen. I can absolutely guarantee there is no way I'm going to say this is the best album they've done ever or in years, or even post-breakup Blink. I even love Neighbourhoods, and I don't think this will actually top that. So, I don't really know what else there is to say. I know I haven't really talked about my opinion on the song and how it sounds or anything, but I just couldn't, because this song isn't really interesting. And there's a few points that I had that I was going to say that went out of my head when I would get onto it, and are kind of coming back now. But I think I'll keep them for the album review. I'll keep more in-depth problems I have for that. So, yeah. What's your opinion on No Future? I know a lot of people are going to have I know a lot of people who are Blink fanboys, if they watch this, they're going to have a go at me and say you're just being a Tom DeLonge fanboy and that you don't like the band now he's gone. But I'm not. I will criticise pretty much everything he says. He has a huge ego, and I don't like the fact he left Blink. But I honestly think he had a lot of charm and a lot of songwriting skill that has gone since he left the band. Yeah, I could go on for a rant or whatever, however you pronounce it, I don't really know. I could go on for ages talking about my problems with the new Blink, but I think I need to save that, not for this video. I need to save that for the album review. So, yeah, what's your opinion on No Future? Leave it in the comment section below. I've got another track review. I don't know if that's out already. It may not be. I'm not sure. But if it is, then watch that. If it's not, it will be coming out later. I think I actually pretty much say this exact same thing in that one as well, where I plugged the Blink track review. Also, because it's Friday today, and that means there's going to be Favourite Fridays, I've actually got a top 20 favourite blink-182 tracks coming out to celebrate the release of California next week. But I don't know if I'll get it all done today, because it's a really long video. I ramble on for a long time about all the tracks. So, if it's not out today, it will be out today, but I may have to split it from 20 to 11 and then 10 to 1, which the second part may be out tomorrow or Sunday, depending on when I get it done. So I'm going to literally, as soon as this video is done, I'm going to go on and work on that and try and get it out as soon as possible. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.
The future makes me afraid.